Breaking news. The Huskies defeat the number 14 Tar Heels, and with that win, head coach Geno Auriemma has now tied Tara Vanderveer for the most wins all time in D1 basketball history. 69-58. They got a great performance from Paige Bueckers, who looks like she's on a different level than we've already seen earlier in her college career. 29 points on 12 of 21 shooting. Now, the Tar Heels did make it close in the fourth, got within 9, but way too much from Bueckers, Sarah Strong. Nice. Brady had some nice shots. And rebounding, Caitlin Chin has been a great transfer. And the Huskies stay undefeated, the number 2 team in the nation. Time now to bring in CBS Sports basketball analyst Erica Ayala from Greensboro, where the number 2 Huskies won 69-58 over the 14th ranked UNC Tar Heels. And Erica, Geno Auriemma making history, tying Tara Vanderveer for most wins all time in D1 basketball history. And this is a guy who is an institution. When you look at what he's achieved over his decorated career, how do you put into words what he's meant to not just UConn, but the overall sport?
It's difficult, quite honestly, and how much time do we have is the next thing that I'll say. I think this is very fitting that Geno Auriemma at some point this season, likely sooner rather than later, will become the winningest coach. I should really say coaching tandem alongside Chris Daly. They came to this program, UConn, in the 80s, I believe it was 1985, taking over a program that really wasn't winning early in their tenure and revolutionized not just UConn women's basketball, but women's basketball. So to have Geno and right alongside him, Chris Daly and the UConn women's basketball program be on the cusp of history. They already have the most NCAA titles that we've ever seen in college basketball, college hoops. And now to have this, it does seem fitting.
Absolutely. 11 national championships for him. He's looking to get his first one since 2016. So moving forward, Erica, how do you see UConn moving in terms of their schedule when they take on tougher opponents? Because they look very well orchestrated right now, very in sync.
They definitely look in sync, and there are still some improvements, I'm sure. We know Coach Auriemma always can find improvements for these UConn teams, and he's likely going to drill those things home. But this is a team that they seem to be on the same page. Again, they have great leadership. They have good hustle. They seem to be cool, calm, and collected. They don't let a lot faze them on the court. I think what's going to be interesting is to see how they play against teams that can maybe play with a little more pace, with consistency. We saw that at times from UNC. I'm curious to see how UConn also deals with maybe some more physicality throughout the game. But those are things that you ramp up to, and I think that this UConn team has a lot of elements where they'll be able to handle that. So expecting big things, and this is a team that is expecting a lot from themselves. I was able to talk to AZ Fudd, and she said, we're tired of talking about next year, next year, next year. We're not making any predictions. We're not making any promises. We're just going to show up, play the game. So this is a UConn team that is extremely focused. And even though it's still early in the season, Chris, I saw some of that on the court tonight.
Right. And speaking about AZ Fudd, she didn't even play. They also are going to get back Caroline Ducharme at some point. So when they are fully healthy, and that's been the big question for them, they are going to be one of the toughest teams to stop. Now, on the other side, UNC ranked 14th in the nation. They didn't get great contributions offensively from Lexi Donarski, Alyssa Usby, but they did get some nice production from India Navarre. What do you make of the way UNC played and how they went up against UConn?
I like that they have grit. I was talking before the game about that this is a gritty team. They still have a lot more that they're going to want to develop regarding chemistry, regarding just making good decisions, and just being confident more so in those decisions down the wire. But those are all fixable things. This is a team that has a lot of great elements. I like what they have from the coaching perspective. And so they were able to, again, get that within 9 points, and had they been able to drop a few more buckets, they actually could have, gotten that even leaner than 9 points. So they know that they have that. And I know not all athletes want to talk about moral victories and things of that nature, but this is the time in the season, Chris, where you can learn lessons. You take a look at film, you look at where you could have just pushed a little bit more, where you could have made better decisions. And from my vantage point, this is a UNC team that once they refine some of those things, just round out some of the sharp edges, they are going to be a very solid basketball team.
Right, because after all, it is November. It's not
Yes.
March, it's not April. So a championship was not won on this day. So a lot to learn for UNC and UConn getting a convincing victory over UNC. Eric Ayala, always appreciate talking to you.
Thank you, Chris.
And here's what's on tap for the Huskies. Fairleigh Dickinson, they battle 7 Eastern this Wednesday. And then Oregon State, going to be a neutral site game. And how about December 7th? Number 18, Louisville at 9. December 12th, that's going to be a juicy one. Number 6, Notre Dame. They have Olivia Miles back. Hannah Hidalgo. Theater is coming for the Huskies. But Geno Auriemma trying to surpass Tara Vanderveer. He'll probably get that against Dickinson this upcoming Wednesday at 7.